the flag, but it'll.
There you go. All right.
2 more inches over. No, that's too far. I'm just joking.
He's messing with you.
Don't be blocking Donovic.
All right. Impromptu. This is good. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by the Honorable Scott Morgan and what troop? 72. 72.
Good job, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You can all sit back down now.
They're getting a picture.
Well, for anybody that knows us, we usually have obviously accommodations and usually some kind of fun before the event. And when we see you in the audience, I'm looking around going, hey, did we miss something? Because we usually sign in for the pledge. So guys, I really appreciate you doing that. And yeah. All right, so good evening and welcome to the 2005 regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Monday, December 2nd, 2024. I'm going to apologize if I am, I play hockey and my filling popped out, so I'm just going to call that out. So if everybody can see it, it's right there. Haha, it's there, but I'm not speaking very good with it, and he's been making fun of me, so that's fine. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Morgan.
Here.
Councilmember Toy.
Here.
Councilmember Jolly.
Present.
Vice President Tashnik.
Here.
Councilmember Donovic.
Here.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Here.
President McCullough.
Here. We have every council member. I will now entertain a motion from the minutes of the regular meeting that City Council held on November 6th. Council, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Support from Morgan. Any comments from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the minutes carry. I'm going to jump right into audience communication. This is 30 minutes has been set aside for items that are not currently on the agenda. If you'd like to speak, please make your way to the podium. Name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening. Kathleen McIntyre, 14455 Fairway. President McCullough and honorable members of City Council, nice to see all of you. I believe we can all agree that Livonia needs improvements in our public transportation infrastructure, both within our city and also with communities outside Livonia, to better serve our residents, businesses, college, and universities. I was an active participant on the Livonia Transit Steering Committee, as were Mayor Brosnan, Jacob Uhazi of our planning department, and leaders from Livonia businesses, educational, and healthcare organizations. The committee worked for over a year and a half to assess the gap between our transportation needs and the transportation services presently available, and to make recommendations for closing that gap. The committee did identify a regional transit system as being an important element in meeting our comprehensive transportation needs, but they identified it as phase 5 in building out our transportation infrastructure system. Phase 1 was to enhance our current Livonia community transit program with implementation of the Via Transit software. I'm not certain if the city has done this yet. However, our state legislators believe they know better and are pushing through lame duck legislation, House Bill 6088, to rob Livonia's elected leaders and taxpayers of local control by forcing Livonia property owners and those of the other communities who opted out of SMART to pay a 0.95 mil levy to Wayne County Transit Authority. We have seen nothing to suggest that the Wayne County Authority will do anything more than pay lip service to the transportation needs of Livonia and other suburban communities. We will be back to where we were prior to Livonia's 2005 opt-out of SMART, when our taxpayers, prior to the opt-out, our taxpayers were funding an expensive, inefficient system that fell far short of addressing our community's needs. Last November, our legislators stripped away all local control over placement of large renewable energy installations. Now they are poised to take more control away from us, and this time will increase your constituents' tax bills. House Bill 6088, which is co-sponsored by our state representative, Lori Pohitsky, who is putting politics and Wayne County bureaucracy ahead of our community's interest, was passed out of committee last week along party lines and needs to be stopped or at least paused until the new Michigan legislature convenes in January. I am asking you, the council, on behalf of Livonia's taxpayers, to pass a resolution against lame duck passage of House Bill 6088. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further audience communication? Seeing none, oh. Good evening.
Good evening, President McAuliffe, Council. My name is Joseph Schaefer. I live at 29552 Linda Street. It's actually my first Livonia Council meeting, but I've lived in the city for about 6 years. Anyway, my concerns are with Rotary Park and the dilapidation of the buildings there. I have a 4-year-old son. He really enjoyed going there, but I refuse to let him go, or I will not take him with the current state of that park, out of fear that he would run towards those buildings and maybe become hurt. I know that you're having discussion on your liability insurance today, and it should be concerned to you of anyone that could be injured at that park, considering that you would be on the hook for the injury that could occur to any child there. Additionally, I just want to make a comment about the library next door. Me and my son were there probably about, I don't know, between 6 months to 8 months ago. It was a rainy day. Typically we don't go on rainy days, but the ceiling was leaking, and they had buckets all over the auditorium to collect the rainfall. It's just a sad state of our city if these few things that children can go to are in such a state. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience communication? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to council communication. I'm going to start with a general, just letting everybody know we do have an X item today. I'm going to touch base, if that's fine, before I open it up to my colleagues. The gentleman that was right there, yes. Rotary Park, just to kind of give you a quick update, at least what we've heard. So the MMRMA is the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority. Sorry, the two things working out really good here. But what's going on right now is with the design, there were some miscommunications on the cost of the RFP for design services, and it took a little bit step further. I'm hearing that there was a meeting on November 11th. We share that same, I think I can speak for all of council, that we send a lot of emails and correspondence with the same concerns that you do have. And as well on the Bennett Library as well with the atrium. We did approve a project. We're hoping early spring that will come to fruition to replace that entire atrium with LED lights, bring it up to 2024 and beyond, hopefully. So keep following, and if you've got questions, we'll make sure we get you some answers. But I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight and let us know. Council.
Yeah.
Councilman Toy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to introduce to you one of my former colleagues up in Lansing, speaking of House of Representatives, Mickey Mortimer. Mickey and I served together the first 4 years that I was in the House, and he's interested in our appointment here on the City Council. So he's viewing us tonight, and he's been active, I know, in the Livonia community for some time now, so good to see you, Mick. I also, Mr. President and others, have a tribute, more or less, that good friend Bob Nash and his family, that are dear friends of John Strauss Jr., 64 years old, has passed away. And the Livonia community is, of course, saddened to announce the death of Mr. Strauss Jr. of Livonia. John Strauss was a lifetime resident of the city of Livonia, a 78 graduate of Stevenson High School. John worked as an electrician by trade for over 40 plus years. As well, John Strauss Jr. and his father, John Sr., also built and started the Looney Bakery in Livonia in 1986, which was groundbreaking and innovative for its time. Why? Because of the drive-through window. One of the first bakeries in the state to have that, as well as even the country. And they employed many locals at their place at that time as well. John Strauss was a wonderful person. He was an active man who loved working around his beautiful cottage near Tawas City. John also enjoyed hockey, and he was an active member of the Livonia Hockey Association. He also enjoyed hunting and many other outdoor activities. John was also a great husband to his wife, Mary Ann, a great father to his two sons, John and Cody, and a loving grandfather to his grandson, Johnny. John Strauss Jr. will be dearly missed by everyone, including the entire Strauss family and all of his friends. As I said earlier, Strauss Jr. was 64 years old, an untimely death, a surprise death, if you will. And Mr. President, if we may please call for a few moments of silence in his memory. God bless you, John.
Thank you, Councilman Toy. Anything else? Councilwoman Budzinski.
Yes. So Saturday, I hosted my final in-person coffee hour of the year, and I had residents ask some questions about different topics, so I wanted to address them just because I felt they were popular. Number one was actually the Rotary Pavilion, and I did talk to our Parks and Recreation Director today for an update on the state of that situation. Unfortunately, it's not a quick timeline in terms of when it will be not looking like a blighted eyesore. However, it is something that the city's actively working on. It's something that our Parks Director has worked on extensively over the last few months, and I have asked that as soon as possible we put up a more aesthetically appealing barrier, something similar to what you see at the Senior Center where it says coming soon, because the pavilion will be remodeled and reopened sometime next year. So again, we'll continue to provide updates to residents. Know that it is not an ignored situation. It just unfortunately is taking a lot longer than any one of us would like. I've had questions about trash and recycling bins. And, if you go to the city's website, we have a video doing a question and answer session there. You can also read the question and answers on the city's website. You have a window to request a smaller size trash recycling bin from Toter if you would like a 64-gallon bin instead of this default 92. Did I get 96? Yeah, I kind of get those numbers a little mixed up. But for residents who live on main streets, because they also have a really nice visual that shows how you have to put the bins 3 feet apart on the street so that, the purpose of doing this is automation for the trash collection company. If you live on a main street, however, you can obviously not put it on the street. So I've been advised from our government affairs director that residents who live on Main Street should just continue doing what they've always been doing in terms of where they put their trash cans, and they'll be picked up. Once this gets rolled out, if we learn other information, it will be a learning process. We'll be sure to inform you. But that's the answer I got for that. I also followed up on our committee meeting regarding deer in Livonia. The city is waiting on a response from Michigan DNR on an update from information that we've submitted to the state. So again, I know it's an issue that a lot of residents have passionate feelings about, but also just want to know kind of that the city is listening and still working on that. So as I mentioned, that is my final coffee hour for 2024. I will be resuming monthly coffee hours in 2025. In January, I'm looking to host my first coffee hour of the year on the 18th, which is a Saturday. I always do them at 11 o'clock. Next year is going to be a really unique year for Livonia. We have 4 openings on City Council. And so I will talk at that meeting about what it's like to be on City Council, what the job is, what the responsibilities are, and how to run for office. It's something I've done twice. I've won once, I've lost also. So I can share both perspectives, but if you are interested in serving in public office, particularly city council, please come to my coffee hour. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll be sharing as much information as I can. And I'll share it on my council Facebook page as well so that it's easy to access and hopefully useful to residents who want to engage in the process. Finally, I would just like to recognize Sergeant Walters from the Livonia Police Department and the Traffic Commission. Residents have reached out to say how happy they are at how responsive he's been to concerns about traffic in front of Hoover Elementary School, and that he's just been incredibly responsive and was out in front of the school today, monitoring traffic to make sure that it was safe for kids. I went to the Traffic Commission earlier this year, proudly as the first elected official apparently to attend a meeting, and was very welcomed by him and very impressed by the work that he's doing. So I just wanted to give him a shout out and say thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, Sergeant Walters is a pretty cool guy. I'm also happy Councilman Budzinski mentioned the transition to carts. As you may have seen this weekend, over the week, you would have received a few mailers from the city. I know it's kind of confusing. There's a lot of changes going on. To her point, the website is called letsroll.livonia.org. There's a ton of questions and answers on there. There's dimensions of the carts. And I guess just to add on to that, the city's saving millions of dollars. I understand some residents don't like the transition to carts. And I understand, the sentiments of both. Some of the seniors may have a hard time moving them around, or maybe you just bought a cart recently. But the fact is the city's going to save millions of dollars over the course of this contract, and that's a big number. And we only have so many finite dollars as a city to spend, so we have to be fiscally responsible when we are reviewing these contracts and spending things. So it's never an easy decision, and as a lot of my colleagues can attest here, you can see both sides of the argument, but ultimately, the way the industry is moving, they're getting away from traditional carts, the traditional garbage can that you pick up at the side of your house and buy at Home Depot. That's moving away from the industry. And in fact, I think we're one of the last cities in the area to have that traditional system. And I can't predict the future, but it's safe to say that style of trash collection is going to be going away pretty soon, if not already gone. I did want to acknowledge the resident that brought up this really unfortunate piece of legislation, really unfortunate that it's coming from someone from Livonia, but more so it's a continued attack on local control. Regardless of your opinion on mass transit, I understand that, again, there's a lot of pros and cons and a lot of discussion about whether we should or shouldn't have a system. Now, the city of Livonia already has a transportation system, and again, we can get really deep into the weeds about that, but that's not about that. Right now, what I'm talking about is the state legislature is stripping more of the voters' rights away from them. The city of Livonia opted out of a contract. We didn't want it. The residents didn't want it. And to take that right away from the local municipalities is not right. The residents have said they don't want something, and maybe the residents change their mind, but put up for a vote. And unfortunately, you're seeing politics being played at the county level and at the state level. And they realize that the residents have a voice, and they want to strip that voice away from them because politicians think they know better, and they think they should make the decisions on behalf of the people. And we do have a republic style of government, and I appreciate that, and that's why we're the best country in the world. But for politicians in their ivory tower in Lansing to strip away the rights of our voters, I have a problem with that. And that is exactly what they're doing. They're saying the residents of Livonia and the residents of individual communities do not have the right to vote, and we will make the decisions on your behalf. And that is not right. So I really hope that our residents can reach out to our legislators in Lansing. We have 3 state representatives right now, and we have 2 state senators who represent the city of Livonia. I encourage you to reach out to them, irregardless of your position on mass transit or any particular item. I think we can all come together and understand that taking our rights away as voters and having some administrative bureaucrat make that decision on our behalf is not right. It goes against the whole idea and concept of why we are the greatest country in the world. So I'm going to refer an item to the Law and Education Committee, chaired by our Council Vice President. And I'd like to make that motion for us to address a council resolution to send to the state legislature to go against HB 6088.
Support.
Support. Floor is still yours if you want to finish.
Thanks, Mr. President. So the Law and Education Committee, while I would love nothing more than to offer a resolution right now, it's a symbolic gesture that the City Council would put together. I understand we don't have a ton of information. We're just hearing about this today. And again, thank you to the resident, Mrs. McIntyre, for putting that out to the council. It's my hope that we can have a committee meeting and discuss it further. And I'd hope that out of that committee, we could put together a resolution. And this resolution, if passed by my colleagues, would be sent to the state legislature and basically telling them our discomfort with them stripping away our local powers. And I don't want any of our local powers being stripped away. And you've seen the state legislature continuously attack locals across the state of Michigan, stripping our power away, because what happens is it's those local city councils and mayors that keep on getting in our way. That's what it really comes down to, whether it be all sorts of different zoning regulations or this regulation. That's what it really comes down to, is the governor and legislature would rather impose legislation on local municipalities, taking our power away, than dealing with these local municipalities, going through this democratic process and discussing what we believe is right, what we don't believe is right. So thanks to my colleagues for their indulgence. I'm looking forward to that committee meeting. Thank you.
We do have a motion. Council, do we have anything further to speak on before we go to the vote?
And how many grants did we want to acquire? Just saying.
On this motion, floor is yours.
Thank you. The one thing, I know we're going to vote on the motion in just a minute, but I know that Mrs. Budzinski earlier today did request from the final report and recommendation from the Livonia Transit Steering Committee, and I would like to make sure that we have that for that committee meeting. I was actually hoping our governmental affairs director would be here so he could address that, but seeing that he's not, maybe we could have that prepared for us for the committee meeting.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We want to, I appreciate my colleagues' passionate comments, but we do want to be careful how we phrase things when we address our representatives. A lot of them do a lot of hard work. A lot of them have given us a lot of dollars brought down from Lansing, and so I caution us as we want to give our opinions. We want those kinds of things happening, and they expect it, and I don't want to speak for them, but being a former member, you want to play nice in the sandbox too, because we have a lot of grants and things we're going to be asking for as we build our Vision 21 and other areas in our state. So we do want to, also pad things so that it comes across as, we are a cooperative kind of body, regardless of what party we belong to or our strong feelings about things, because that you get more with honey than you do with a lot of salt on it. So I appreciate the passion that people have for different issues, but I just want to caution us on how we approach it. That's all. And very well said by a couple of my colleagues down there. I just want to be a little bit more learned as I go through this life, if you know what I mean. So thank you.
So no honey, no salt, maybe some salted caramel.
It's salted caramel, yes.
All right, I was saving that one. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote on sending this item to the Law and Education Committee?
Councilmember Morgan?
Yes.
Councilmember Toy?
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik?
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski?
Aye.
President McCullough?
Aye, and the item carries 7-0. Council, are there any more council communications, Vice President?
Thank you. And now I wanted to piggyback onto the trash carts for just a second. Just in case you didn't realize today was the deadline to go on and fill out if you wanted to request. I did have a couple residents reach out to me that they had not received their postcards, couldn't find their postcards, whatever. I did talk to our DPW director. He said if you just call over there, they'll be glad to help you out, get you the code, and help you get that finalized. So just if you're sitting here watching, I know that millions of people that are watching right now, go get your QR code, scan it, and pick your trash can.
Thank you. I've got two items. One I want to touch base on is so that we have a council appointment coming up. Right now, we have a committee of a whole meeting scheduled for December 16th in this auditorium. And right now, we're working on process, but the most likely will be a 3-minute minimum. Anybody that wants to come, we're going to be open and transparent about it. We're not expecting any motions, but council has the freedom to do so, and potentially looking for something a committee report out in the new year. So again, correspondence could come right to City Council at livonia.gov, anything that anybody would want to get to council. And then that day on the 16th, it's going to be a 3-minute. Anybody that wants to speak and interested in the position, they'll have their time. So I wanted to touch base on that. And then the fun is, and it kind of goes with the missing tooth, is mark your calendars for January 26th at Eddie Edgar Ice Arena. We're back, and we're going to probably lose again, and that's fine, but we're playing. It's the Livonia All-Stars in the 4th annual game against the Detroit Red Wings alumni. This year, we're going to have 2 squads. We're going to have a first half squad and a second half, primarily because I can't say no to anybody, and but we look to raise a ton of money for now Livonia Kids and Families, which is now breaking barriers. And if anybody hasn't been to that event, it's an awesome time. It's $10 tickets. It's going to sell out, I can assure you of that. And it's reminiscent of like if Hallmark had a hockey movie, it would be that, minus Rob being on the team. Other than that, it's fine. No, I'm messing. We're teammates on that one, so we'll see. But
Have another tooth missing in January.
Yeah, I know. But it's a great time, and anybody that is obviously part of the city and the fabric of it, it's Livonia. So make sure tickets are online right now. The city will probably be doing a post soon. Get those tickets and watch us look like buffoons against the Red Wings, as always. With that, I'm going to move away now from council announcements, and I'm going to have reports and other items from city officials. I have a bunch, and I figure that it's perfect timing. A lot of tax rate requests. So item A, we have, these are all receiving files, but item A is a tax rate request for the Wayne County Zoological Authority for the 2024. Item B is a tax rate request for the Wayne County Art Institute Authority for the 2024 year. C is a tax rate request for Huron-Clinton Metropolitan Authority for the year of 2024. D is a tax rate request for the City of Livonia for the year 2024. E is a tax rate request for Wayne County Regional Education Service Agency for the 2024 school year. F is a tax rate request for the Charter County of Wayne, Michigan for the year of 2024. And G, finally, is a tax rate request for the Livonia Public Schools District for the 2024 school year. And I'm not going to read that again, so thank you all. Moving on, we are going to move on to the consent agenda. Items 1 through 12 on the consent agenda will be voted on as one item. These items were previously discussed at the study meeting that took place on November 6th and determined to be non-controversial. Council.
So moved.
Support.
I have maker of the motion is Vice President. Support from Councilman Budzinski. Council, do we have any comments? Audience, do we have any comments on the consent agenda? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Excuse me. Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. The consent agenda passes 7-0. We're going to move on to unfinished business, starting with item 13. It's a roll call. It's a proposed amendment to the Livonia Code of Ordinances as amended. Comes to us from the Department of Law to amend Title II by adding Chapter 25 as a capital improvement. We had a first reading given by Councilwoman Laura Toy on November 6th. Councilwoman Toy, would you like to make the second read?
Yes, I'll offer second reading.
All right. Council, do we have any discussion on this item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had one quick, I know when Mrs. Leibel came to present this to us, we had talked about adding the ADA certification to this position, and oh, look, conveniently it just arrived.
Good evening, Council. I think you were about to ask if we added the ADA compliance. We did, and we also added MIOSHA to make sure that we were, that we could have a point person that could make sure that all of our current buildings and all of our future buildings were at the best that they could be for serving our whole community. So thank you very much for that suggestion. I love to see it.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure we were ready to go before we voted.
All right. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience on this item? Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Item 13 passes 7-0.
Thank you all so very much.
We're going to jump right into new business. Number 14 is a request for proclamation for Family Court Awareness Month. This comes to us from the Protective Parents Michigan founder to raise awareness of the need for child safety in the Michigan Family Court. Council,
So moved.
Support.
Toy and Budzinski. I will be happy to open it up for council if we had anything to say. If not, basically this is proclamation that comes to us from that raises awareness for the Michigan Family Court. It's a great thing, and we're happy they reached out to us and asked if we would be interested in doing the proclamation, and so here we are. With that, any audience communication on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Proclamation passes 7-0. We're going to move on to item number 15, is a request to renew the city's liability and property insurance coverage. This comes to us from the Department of Finance with the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, the MMRMA, for a period from December 1st, 2024 to November 30th, 2026. Good evening. Let me get a motion
So
from.
moved.
Support.
We got a motion by Donovic, support by Tashnik. Tell us a little about what we got going on.
Well, I got
Or
roasted
if
one
you-
time
if
for
you
not
would-
saying
if
my
you would
name.
like
so-
to, if not-
No, that's totally fine. But I want to make sure I say my name and don't
Yes.
make that mistake again. So my name is Connie Kumpola. I am the chief accountant for the city of Livonia, and I'm standing in for the finance director, Debbie Lichtenberg.
And this is a standard contract. We've
Yes.
had it, and we did obviously have some people that were bringing up some of the stuff. The MMRMA has been the city's insurance company, carrier for, I think, a very long time. And so this is pretty much a standard contract. And obviously, with the matter that we did have addressed, hopefully we can get some assurances with Rotary.
Yes, again, yeah, this is 1985 is
Perfect.
how long we've been with this, with MMRMA. So,
Yeah?
yeah, it
Nope.
is a standard, and it is really a modest increase, and that's it.
We're super happy you're joining us.
Thank you.
And we do have a motion, we do have support. Council, do we have anything further that you'd like to chime in on? Anything from the audience on the MMRMA? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Item carries 7-0. Moving on to item number 16 is an award of contract, comes to us from the Department of Finance in reference to the workman's compensation insurance coverage for the period of December 1st, 2024 to November 30th, 2026 from budgeted funds. Council?
So moved.
Support.
Standard practice?
Yep. This is, again, a standard practice. We are self-insured for workers' compensation, similar to MMRMA, but it is a little bit different. We are independently self-insured. There are two components that we're bringing forward to council tonight. One is with regard to the excess insurance, and it's the insurance coverage that kicks in after the self-insurance retention, or SRR, is paid by the city. So you can only reach so many claims, and then we are insured above and beyond that. And then we pay those claims. And then the second one is for our TPA, is our administrative service that monitors reports and supports those claims. So we did solicit several quotes with the help of Marsh McLennan, and Great West is the one who came in the lower and what we're looking at really for that piece is that SIR. But the bonus to that one is our premium actually is a 3%. So not only were they the lowest SIR, but we are also, our premium is a 3% decrease from last year. And then the TPA, we're looking at the ASU group again, and their renewal rate is 38,000 a year. And while that is a 7% increase over the last 4 years, they have not increased their rates at all. So the effective increase rate of that is 1.75%.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything from council?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may ask, Connie, have we had any kind of increase when it comes to workman's comp at all? Have you seen in recent times?
The trends
Yeah,
in terms,
right.
I actually am not prepared to answer that question. I do apologize. I'm looking at just the rates, but I didn't look into the history of our workers' comp.
Okay, maybe you could shoot that to us at some point.
Sure.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Anything else from council? Anything from the audience? If you have a question, make your way to the podium. And you will have 2 minutes. Yeah, you're fine.
Joe Schaefer, 29552 Linda Street. Sorry, just a brief question. When you say
And you got to direct your question,
self-insured
please.
for workman's comp, are you saying that the city is required to pay out workman's comp out of a pool before excess insurance kicks in? And if that is the case, what's the...
So right now you'd have to go through
Sorry.
the chair. No, you're good. You're good. And that is probably something, if it works for you, just in the forum right here, that's something we can get you an answer on for sure. Maybe today, tomorrow, unless you're prepared to answer, but I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, this piece of it I am very familiar with. So we're not pooled. MMRA is pooled with a bunch of other communities. We're independently self-insured. And so what that means is we pay our workers' comp claims up to a certain amount. That's that SRI or SIR ceiling. So yes, we pay out of pocket for any workers' comp claim per claim up to that SIR amount. And so that's just, and then once that claim hits that ceiling, then that's when this reinsurance kicks in.
Okay, with that information, Councilwoman Toy mentioned potential increases in claims. Would that information become publicly available, trends? Because, I mean, if the city is paying out of pocket for claims, I think that would be something of interest to maybe
And
taxpayers.
Anything's FOIA-able. Yeah, you could FOIA that information for sure. I think it would just be redact on certain items that would be privileged to the personnel specifically.
Sure, I don't want the individual's names.
No,
of
but
course.
yes, I think you have that ability to do so. And
Okay,
if you
thank
have
you.
issues, let us know.
Sure, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, anything else from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And item 16 carries 7-0. Moving on to item number 17 is a request to approve budget adjustments for the fiscal year ending November 30th, 2024. Wow, we're almost here. It's crazy how time's flying. I know.
Yeah. We're very busy.
Very much. Let me get a motion on the floor first.
So moved.
Support.
Boom. Floor is yours.
Thank you. This agenda item is a request for council to approve a budget amendment pertaining to the fiscal year that we are ending November 30th, 2024. The budget amendment would authorize administration to transfer a portion of the net revenue recognized in the general fund to other city funds to continue addressing two main concerns: funding the retiree health care obligations and addressing capital improvement needs. The practice follows what we have done in the past several years. Administration has considered the best use alternative for additional general fund resources that may be available once the fiscal year closes. So we are asking consideration given to leaving an additional resource in the general fund, which would result in an increase in the unassigned fund balance, transferring a portion of the additional resources to the Building Improvement Fund for 418 to be used for future building projects and capital improvements, and making an additional contribution to the VEBA to further reduce the unfunded liability for retiree healthcare. We are anticipating a favorable budget variance due to a variety of factors, including conservative budgeting for certain revenue items and cost savings resulting from position vacancies, renegotiated contractual service contracts, and a general slowing of cost inflation seen in recent years. I think the thing that I think is more important to point out is that we are asking if we're to approve a budget amendment up to $1 million to be transferred from the general fund to the building improvement fund, and up to $1 million transferred from the general fund to the VEBA. And again, this is based on performance. We would like to have the ability to do further analysis once we close the general fund. And we do plan on reporting back to council once the transfers are made.
Thank you. Council, any discussion? Seeing none, anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Item 17 carries 7-0. Moving on to item number 18 is a request to approve settlement. Comes to us from the Department of Law for MMRMA claims in connection with a sewer backup claim. Mr. Fisher, is this yours?
I think this is actually from finance in terms of the recommendation, but
Well, let me do this. Council, can I have a motion for sake of discussion?
So moved.
Support.
Mr. Fisher, the floor is yours. Or if there is someone, or would we want?
I don't know that we would necessarily want to disclose the details of this.
Sure.
This is a proposed settlement that came to us from MMRMA, and our standard is not to discuss the monetary
Yes.
amounts, but it's been reviewed by both my office and finance, as well as pretty experienced insurance adjuster from MMRMA,
And that's exactly-
and that's the recommendation they've made in terms of settlement.
Thank you. Council, any further discussion? Audience, any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. Item 18 carries 7-0. We're going to move on to the X item, Council.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Support.
With support. Anything further from Council? From the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote to suspend the rules?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And we will jump right into our one and only X item is X1. It's a site plan petition. Comes to us from the Planning Commission in reference to petition 2024-09-08-06 submitted by CESO on behalf of Walmart requesting approval of all plans to construct a 1,272 square foot addition for grocery pickup on the west end of the existing Walmart superstore at 29555 Plymouth Road, located on the south side of Plymouth Road between Middlebelt and Milburn. Mr. Tormina, Council?
Mr. President, I'd like
Can
to
I-
offer an approving.
Yes,
Support.
there we go.
Mr. President, may I?
Yep.
Thank you. Is there representatives from Walmart?
Yes, good evening, Council. My name is Rachel Carl. I'm the Director of Government and Public Affairs for Walmart. And then we have a much more important person with me tonight, Mr. Thomas Bundy, who is actually the store manager of this location.
I think you guys are both pretty important. Well, thanks for being here tonight. We really appreciate it, and thank you both for I know you've spoken to a number of council members here concerning some issues on your petition. I do sincerely appreciate you guys working on a few things and coming to some resolutions. I do appreciate your time. Today, more specifically, you sent us a letter highlighting a few things. We talked about cart control devices of that nature on the shopping carts at your Walmart location at Plymouth Middlebelt. Can you kind of go over a few of those things we discussed in the letter?
Sure, absolutely. Mr. President and Council Member, what's before you today is an expansion of our store. I'll just take a step back. As an expansion of the store, as people change, we've seen a lot of that through the pandemic and how their shopping behaviors have changed. We've needed to expand the store to include more room and more areas for our associates to be able to do online pickup and delivery orders. I feel like I'm jumping in your
No, you're
lane.
right. No,
Okay.
digital shopper. As the pandemic has brought a lot of people shopping at home, that business has grown astronomically. So most of the remodeled Walmart has recognized we need to grow that area in order to accommodate our customers, especially during the holiday, Black Friday time, right? No one wants to come to Walmart and wait in line for 30 minutes for their line. So we recognize that. And along with that, as the shopping trends have changed, we talked about some of the things that you guys wanted done as far as the shopping carts, lock wheels you wanted on. At the time that he bought it to us, there was no Walmart in the company that had a wheel lock at all whatsoever. That's almost 6,000 stores, and Walmart doesn't have one. The team was able to put together something really quickly, probably quicker than if I asked for it, if that makes sense, to try to accommodate the city. And I was thankful for that, if that makes sense. So we proposed something and got something back to you guys that I hope will accommodate the community, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so what you'll see before you in the letter is a conditional approval for our certificate of occupancy. The reason that we chose that step specifically for the certificate of occupancy to only be given should the wheel cart locks be installed is merely for the fact that we are coming up at the end of our fiscal year, which ends January 31st. We were hoping so that we don't take a huge hit to the store's budget line that we could do those in February. So that's only the reason for the difference in time in terms of when we would tie that requirement to plan approvals or things like that. But we are moving forward. We are purchasing wheel locks February 1 when we start our new fiscal year. Those will be getting delivered and installed to us. We're hopeful that it's a very quick turnaround. I've been told a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks.
So March 1st, hopefully we'll be able to send you an email that says it's done, it's over with, and we're good to go. So.
And would that be correct that these wheel locks, you'd be containing your merchandise and the carts on the Walmart property itself?
That's correct.
Yep.
Yes, they'll be essentially kind of like an invisible fence you have for your dogs. There'll be that around the perimeter of our parking lot, and then as those carts approach that, the wheels will lock, and you won't be able to take it further unless you have a lot of manpower.
Yeah,
So,
unless you're the Hulk.
yes.
Found that out the hard way at Home Depot once. I'm trying to test out the system a little bit, and they do work. And it's nice to see our retailer, some of your competition in the community have already done this, and I really sincerely appreciate you both for understanding an issue that our city's dealing with and trying to solve that problem. They are a health and safety issue in our community. I've personally witnessed it where abandoned shopping carts would be in the corner of a road and blow out into the wind, and cars have stopped traffic in the middle of a very busy intersection and get out, try to removing a car, and you can only imagine how dangerous it is as someone getting out of their car at the corner of Middlebelt and Plymouth Road, moving a shopping cart with semi-trucks and vehicles blowing by at 40 miles an hour, and everyone's in a rush to get somewhere, understandably so. So thank you guys for looking at this issue. I know you sent us over a letter kind of highlighting some of the things you talked about. You guys are committed to installing this control device in your carts and having that completed by March 1st is what you're hoping for. I guess to Mr. Tormina, so that would be, their C of O would be contingent, this would be an item in our resolution mandating that they do this, otherwise their C of O would not be granted and they couldn't occupy the additional square footage of the space?
Correct. The prepared resolution, I think, captures all of those items and something that Carter and I reviewed previously. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Tormina. Thank you to my council colleagues. Thank you.
I'm just going to take a minute, and this is just general, so I'm not going to have to pass the gavel, at least I don't think, unless he yells at me. But I want to thank you guys, especially I know we've had a lot of conversations, both of you guys. And I want to commend Councilman Donovic. I still remember 5 years ago, he brought this up, more so of the Middle Belt and Plymouth area. And, hearing that you telling us that this is the first out of all the store, let's be innovators. Don't take this as, the city council did it. I think it's a great thing because it helps your product. It keeps the carts in there, keeps the blight out of the city. I could tell you, for everybody that's listening right now, if you're not knowing specifically what we're talking about, is shopping carts will have a mechanism like invisible fence that will lock up as they go past that zone. And they'll be, just as you said, I'd like to see someone try to pick that thing up because it's I think they're pretty heavy. But this is something that we've been rolling out. We had an ordinance that I think that we're looking at. And it really does, we could talk about different items. I know certainly in Walmart, you were saying that there's teams in different locations that go out and they retrieve the carts. This is going to save you guys time, money, and effort. I think that, and just when you do it, you gotta give him the kudos to say there's this guy that just wouldn't stop. We wanted it, but I do think it's a great partnership for the community, and I appreciate you guys going out and hanging out with us and introductions too. So I'll open it up to council if they have anything else, but we do have, yes.
I was just going to quickly just say, I don't think people realize, they think of Livonia as a bedroom community, but as we've proven, we are groundbreaking, and thanks to Mr. Donovic on this one, and thank you to Walmart. One store down, 5,999 to go with this. But we'll be happy to be number one on this. Thank you for listening to our concerns and coming back with it.
Yes. Anything further from council? Anything from the audience? Madam Clerk, will you please take the vote?
Councilmember Morgan.
Aye.
Councilmember Choi.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Vice President Tashnik.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Budzinski.
Aye.
President McCullough.
Aye. And the X item carries 7-0. That concludes our regular agenda. I'm going to go back to the audience. And Mr. Moon, did you want to speak right now?
Sure.
If anybody else would like to speak, make your way to the podium. Mr. Moon, when you are ready, tell me, and your 3 minutes will start. Would you like me to give you a 30-second countdown warning?
Sure.
I'll just give you a wave.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. My name is Glenn, Glenn Moon, Moon. I live at 34461 Wood Street in Livonia, a house that was purchased by my dad, Benny, and my mom, Claire, in 1969. That's 55 years ago. We've been at that house, in that residence, and in fact, the house is, as a result of my mom's deceasement in April of this year, 2024, our house is now in probate, and as the only resident in that house, me, Glenn, I won't be there much longer. So I'm here to tell my story as quickly as I can through a modern communication miracle called the phone, through Facebook, with the use of YouTube. And here we go. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Start with your search. You tap in the letters MOONMAN, that's one word, space, phone, PHONEPICS. Moon Man Phone Pics, go. Here is your first Glenn Moon Facebook page. It's called Moon Man Phone Pics. If you look directly below the words Moon Man and Phone Pics, you'll see the words likes and followers. You tap on followers in order to find who Moon Man Phone Pics is following. You go down, scroll down to Moon Man Motoring. That's number 2. Then you go to, again, you tap on followers, you go to following, and we'll go to Rock Orchestra Golden Eclipse. Those are YouTube, there are YouTube videos in that particular Facebook address. Once again, tapping on followers, seeking following, we will go to Moon Musician Cruise Ship Circus. And then again, tap on followers. We will scroll down to Excavation Orchestra, a jazz band that was in Texas when I was in my glory days in the late 70s, early 80s. Tapping on followers once again, we go to Moon Jazz Ancient History.
30
And,
seconds.
Those are recordings that were done in the basement of this particular house that I am still yet in and won't be in much longer. Followers, going down to following, to Moon Video Audio Recording Storage. There you go. There's some more there for you.
You got 10 seconds.
How many seconds?
10.
10 seconds?
Start it now.
All right, we did pretty good, down to recording storage. And then, in fact, there is Glenn Moon. And following Glenn Moon,
That is time, Mr. Moon.
there is Moon Government.
There you go. I appreciate it, Mr. Moon.
I appreciate you. Thanks for
You
listening.
had it up on the TV. I mean, we got the millions of viewers out there. I think that you might have just added another at least 500,000.
I'm just here to share my story.
I appreciate it. Good evening.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, and you got 3 minutes.
Cindy Fleming, Woodring in Livonia. I just wanted to, I thought I would be remiss if I didn't say that I was actually at Senator Dana Polehenke's constituent meeting, Coffee and Cream in Livonia. And I just want the council to know that this, it appears that HB 6088 was in response to actual constituents that brought this issue to the senator. They expressed that the city has been slow to set up a transportation system that works for them and their families, especially for people with disabilities and younger people under 18. So our current system doesn't accommodate them. And there were people there from charter schools as well, and employers who said that they are having difficulty getting students and employees to and from work. So this was, it appears like that this was in direct response to constituents.
Thank you. Any other audience communications? Seeing none, council?
Motion to adjourn?
I think we could safely show 7. We will take a 10-minute break and start the study meeting. Thanks, Livonia.